welcome. My name's Dan McDowell, and I am the president of the Space Coast Progressive Alliance. Our program tonight is What the Bleep is Going On? And as you can imagine, we've got a lot of activity out there, lots of different messaging going on. And tonight's program, Karen's put together a great program for us. But before we do that, I'd like to welcome everyone to the program and introduce our board of directors, if I can, really quickly here, because many of them are involved in this program, getting that set up, and that would be Karen Houston, our vice president, Bonnie Ida, Carol Becker, Barbara Bingner, Larry Abdullah, Janice Moran, and Bill McKay. And so that is our board of director, and we greatly appreciate all their efforts. And before we get into the actual program, I would like to be able to just do a little bit of business here and check in with our membership and our treasurer to see how things are going, and then we'll get right into the program. So with that said, Carol, any updates for us on that, bro?
Well, just saying welcome to everybody from, actually, I'm in Sugar Mountain, North Carolina right now, enjoying the little bit cooler weather. If you want to become a member, we ask that you give us $35 per family, $25 for individual, $10 if you're a student. You can go on to spcaflorida.com and join. You can also send a check. The address is on there. It's 6005 US Highway 1, Unit 406, Rockledge, Florida, 32955, care of myself, Carol Becker. And welcome.
Great. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
Barbara, you kind of moved, my screens are moving around. You were over there earlier. Any update or comments, words of wisdom from the membership?
Well, just that everybody's membership is very much appreciated. We've received a couple recently just through our e-newsletter, and we're a great group. We hope you join us. Thanks.
Thank you, Barbara. Any of the other board members with any comments for this group? The how about any public announcements? Is there anything? If you do, there is if you can raise your hand and let us know you have a public announcement, that would be great. And you can do that electronically or physically, because we can kind of see you on the screens here. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move right into, I do want to make a couple announcements, and that is here in Brevard, we have special elections going on, and I would encourage you. I know that several of you are canvassing, and we greatly appreciate that. We do have a special election June 10th. Early voting is going on as we speak, and also want to mention that June 14th is a rally being held in the Cocoa area, and I would encourage you to participate or at least investigate and see if that's something you want to join us. Look us up on the Space Coast Progressive Alliance on the Facebook. Any other announcements before I turn it over to our moderator, Karen, which will explain how the program is going to work tonight? All right, Karen, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, first of all, well, you know what? I'm going to recognize somebody right now before we start. One of the most eloquent speakers I've ever known. That's always been here. He's here tonight. Phil Stasic. I'm so glad to see you. But you used to see him at all of our meetings, and he would be speaking in that wonderful radio voice. I miss it already, but I understand. So Phil, I just want to recognize you, and Janice, who always does our graphics for us. So those two people, everybody works within this organization, but there's some people that that stand out sometimes, even though the ones behind the screen are doing just as much. So I just want to recognize those two.
Thank you, Karen.
Excuse me.
I said thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. But I want to give a thank you to all of our speakers tonight. I run them down. Like my dad used to say, I talk a hungry dog off a meat wagon. And I run them down, I run the bios down, I email back and forth, I call. And they're busy people. So for busy people like that, it's hard to connect with them sometimes, but I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out tonight and joining us and sharing your wisdom about what's happening in our United States of America. I'm just gonna go ahead and start giving out some of the bios, and some a lot longer, some a lot shorter, but I want everyone to know exactly who these people are. So I'll start with the lineup, and the first one is Shaunellia. I know she's here because I saw her come up, Shaunellia Ferguson. And for purpose of tonight, I'll tell you what AFGE means, American Federation of Government Employees. So Shaunellia is the president of AFGE 2014. She works with various central labor councils, and she's affiliated with 4. And she works alongside other unions and AFG locals. She's a member of the Brevard Democratic Party and Shirley Chisholm Democratic Club. She's the division vice president for the Brevard County Central Labor Council. She's the first VP and chair of the screening committee at the state and congressional levels. She's a regional rep for Atlanta Region C220, I'm sorry. She has a national certification in mediation, a master's in human resource management, a master's in public administration, and 2 semesters away from a PhD in industrial organization psychology. But her most important achievement is being mom to Ginger. So welcome. Shaunellia, you'll be speaking in a moment, but I'm going to go through and just read everybody's bio so that we won't stall in the meantime. Vanessa Skipper was at a dual meeting this afternoon, which she's going to hop on as soon as she can. Vanessa's with the Brevard Federation of Teachers. She's has been on release from the public education classroom, serving as vice president of the Brevard Federation of Teachers for 7 years. She taught English, language arts, and journalism for 9 years at Cocoa High School in Cocoa, Florida, and 3 years prior to that at Andrew Jackson Middle School in Titusville. Vanessa was one of 6 finalists for Brevard Public Schools Teacher of the Year in 2015. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in advertising and public relations from the Nicholson School of Communication at the University of Central Florida, a Master's of Art degree in English language arts education, also from UCF, and a Master's of Education in Educational Leadership from Stetson University. Now, the lone man that's here tonight, Scott, I was teasing him earlier because men don't usually do all this stuff. And some of the ladies were, they're hesitant to put everything, but we appreciate you putting all your accomplishments. And I'm sure that Scott has more. I'm just going to read you what he sent me because he's a guy. Don't take that wrong, Scott. Scott is the vice president of the National Association of Letter Carriers, Local 2689, I'm sorry. And I know it well, but I don't know why I'm stumbling over it. Right here in Brevard County. He started his postal career November 23rd, 2013. He's an arbitration advocate for the union, and he's also an advocate and spokesperson for the protection of the United States Postal Service. I think he spoke at a rally not too very long ago.
Yes, I did.
Yes. So welcome, Scott. Glad to see you here. And I hunted him down too. Anyway, so here's Cynthia Boston Thompson. She's AFGE Local 507. She was born and raised in Palm Beach County. She's a proud wife, mother of 5 amazing children, and grandmother to 7 beautiful grandchildren. They inspire her every day to continue fighting for a better future. She's dedicated nearly 3 decades of her life to serving veterans as a medical record administrator at the VA Medical Center in West Palm Beach. Throughout her career, she's had the privilege of contributing to the care and wellness of our nation's heroes. It's a responsibility, she said, she holds close to her heart. She's deeply honored to serve as the president of AFGE Local 507, fighting for tirelessly for rights and interests of our thousands of employees at the facility. I've lost my way. Some old people do that sometimes. She has a commitment to protecting and empowering federal workers, extends beyond the local level, and also privileged to hold the position of president of the AFGE Florida State Council. That's a big role. In this role, she works with more than 25 AFG locals across the state, and she's representing a diverse array of federal employees. I'm going to cut back a little bit because it's pretty long. So Cynthia, I hope that I don't cut anything important. Well, all of it's important. She's proud to serve on the board of Florida AFL-CIO, where she collaborates with other union leaders from all sectors to advance the cause of working families. Her passion for serving often begins early in life. She grew up admiring her brother and twin sisters who all served in the armed forces. And she had every intention of following in their footsteps, but a chronic medical condition prevented that. So she didn't allow that to deter her, her desire to serve. She found her calling in a different way by serving those who have served. Over the years, she's become a fierce advocate for workers' rights, women's rights, and democracy itself. She believes deeply in the power of collective action to drive positive change and ensure fairness, dignity, and respect for every worker. She stood shoulder to shoulder with colleagues during difficult times, fought for equitable pay, challenged injustices in the workplace, and pushed for policies that recognize the value and humanity of every employee. Every role that she held, she strived to lead with integrity, empathy, and relentless commitment to the principles of justice and equality. And I'm going to leave it there because this is.
Karen, can I just jump in a couple of housekeeping items before you get with your panel here? I failed to mention that this will be a recorded program and be available on our Facebook as well as YouTube. With that said, I also want to make sure that the audience knows the format is that we do keep folks on their mute until we get to the Q&A portion of the program, which Karen will get into in a little bit. Yes. That's just so we can keep the program flowing and let the speakers have their allotted time.
So we're gonna well, originally we wanted to just allow people to ask questions in the meantime, but then we decided that we'll just save the questions for the end like we used to. One of our friends is on here, did that on another program, and it was really cool. But I would like for the, if they'd like to, for the presenters to talk to each other, you know, to work together. Let's get this thing done because these are important issues that we're talking about. You can't see it that well behind Dan, but there's so very much that's going on right now. So we're not going to hold it up anymore. We're going to go straight to Shaunellia Ferguson. So Shaunellia, unmute yourself and go for it.
Thank you for inviting us tonight. We're truly honored. My name is Shaunellia Ferguson. I represent SSA employees from Melbourne to Key West. I'm located at the Teleservice Center in Plantation, Florida. SSA is a vital program. It touches everyone from, you know, you're born till you die. We always say the womb to the tomb. And since January, it's been an upheaval because of the changes with the current administration and DOGE. There's not any consistency, I should say. You know, employees come to work and they're worried if they're going to be fired next or if they're going to be terminated or laid off, I should say. So far, we've lost at least 3,000, and it's a combination of those who took the resignation and then for those who did the buyouts, and some were just laid off. We currently don't have a civil rights department, so as a union rep, when we have individuals who file EEOs, right now our EEOs go out there into space. We don't have a department for that, you know, on the inside. There are times when we don't even have paper, and I'm being honest with you because the credit cards now are being controlled by Doge. So one person in the area has a credit card, and I get complaints that we don't even have paper to to print stuff, and money managers, when the papers come in, they kind of have to monitor it, because then if they run out, they don't have enough papers. IT services, they were let go too. So in my office, it can take up to an hour if you have a complete computer issue to even get assistance, because with the dismantling of the IT services, the Department of Transformation, and then with my IT person in my local office choosing to just retire, you can be on the help desk going around for an hour to get any assistance. That 1 hour takes time away from us serving you, the American public. So I wanted to start there for you to see how what affects us on the inside affects you on the outside. Because at the end of the day, you have to protect the people who serve the people. And that's what's going on now. We are roughly at 58,000 employees. The new commissioner, Mr. Bisignano, he is a huge fan of AI. In fact, Senator Schumer called him, the slash and burn guy before he came to SSA, because he's a huge fan of AI. And now we had a meeting with him a week ago or so, and based on that meeting, we already know he intends to cut more employees. The problem is, you're cutting, but there's a hiring freeze which should be lifted in July. I'm not sure if you're cutting, you're going to hire more, for one. Secondly, you're cutting, but when SSA performed at their best, at least. We haven't been fully funded or fully staffed for a while now, but our best in terms of being able to manage and do better than what we're doing now was in 2018, when we had over 68,000 employees. Right now we have 57, and they're about to cut another 50. He's saying he can manage with 50. No, he cannot, because there are a lot of backlog claims. You call the 1-800 number, we don't have enough agents on the phone to answer. So right now you're looking at probably a wait of from 3 to 4 hours. It's gone down in the last week, but don't think it's anything Doge or the administration is doing. What's happening is that they're fielding these calls out to the field offices now, to our Social Security offices. So, for example, I have an office now that I'm in a war with the manager, because what's going on when you come in for your claim, once the person's finished interviewing you, instead of getting the time to work on their claim, because they don't give adjudication time. So what happens is that in between the claims, they have to go on the phone and take calls until another claim comes in. So they're not getting to work on your claim properly. I'm just putting that out there. And that is something that they're doing nationwide, because we do not get what you call adjudication time anymore. So employees scramble for time, or they come in early than the time they have to come in for. And at the end of the day, yes, we know it's a job for us. We stand up for it, but we also have families too to take care of. So they have to work like different times. If they offer overtime on Saturdays, they take the overtime, but there are some folks who can't afford to come in on a Saturday. So that's where you have a lot of backlog going on. And that is something, for us to point out to you, the public, that you were promised this benefit. They said, work hard, you pay into the system. When you retire, it's yours. The way it's going now, it's like they want to dismantle it from within. That's what we think, working from the inside, that it's a plan to damage it from within, because they're not giving us what we need, the funding or the staffing, to make sure that we process the claims right, or we have enough people on the 1-800 line to answer the phone. Sometimes the phone service doesn't work. It's shoddy. Some of our applications don't work. And so a lot of money is also being wasted. But what, you guys won't know that, because as I said, if we, the union, doesn't come out and tell you that this is going on, you're not going to know. And before I even continue, I just want to let you know that for us, I am representing not SSA, I'm representing, AFGE Local 2014. I'm speaking on behalf of the men and women that I represent from, from Melbourne to the rest of South Florida and Key West. It's hard. It's difficult. You don't know what's going on. Like, for example, at the 1-800 number, you would call me, say a few months ago. I would just change your direct deposit after asking you some questions. And there are strict identifying questions. You had to give me your mother's name, date of birth, your name, your address, and you have to repeat to me your routing and your account number that was currently on file. If it didn't match, I was not going to process it. And you might have one or two that probably fell through the cracks, but it wasn't a lot. We don't have a lot of fraud. We have less than 1%. What happened now is that because they came up with so dead people getting Social Security nonsense, which is not true, it's the system that we use that's outdated. Because of that, now when you call me, something as simple as a direct deposit change, I can't do it anymore. I have to send you to another line. And I thought when you went to the other line, or the cadre, that they would actually do the change for you after asking you some questions. No, that's not what they're doing. They're trying to get you to sign up for my social security account. And if it doesn't go through for whatever reason, it's not, you're not able to create the account, then they're sending you to the Social Security office. Now you imagine the wait that you're going to have to endure when you go into that Social Security office now to process whatever your direct deposit change or your address changes, because at the end of the day, the lines are already long. It's causing a strain on you getting your benefits and whatever important, function that you have to do or business that you have to do that controls this is your money. So these are some of the issues that we're facing at the agency in which the changes just don't make any sense at all. It's not adding up and it's affecting the public. And that's why you're seeing the long wait lines in the office, because there's already a wait due to the changes that were enacted in March with the direct deposit and everything. But at the end of the day, yes, it's bad. And I'm not going to discredit that. But I would have to say I want to thank you, the public, for what you did in the last couple of months to make your voices heard, to get out there and push back, because before they implemented the direct deposit change, what they were trying to do is to shut down the teleservice centers. So that means if they got rid of us at the 1-800 number, everybody would have had to go to the office. That was the plan. But they didn't understand that the American public who rely on this benefit means, you meant business. You're going to save your benefit because that is your lifeline. So I want to, give you kudos for all you have been doing to help us, not only at SSA, but all, federal employees. I serve with Miss Boston Thompson on the Florida State Council, and I want to thank you guys for just showing up and showing out and, helping us, because at the end of the day, we're not parasites as federal employees. We're not, using the system, or we're not, when we were teleworking, we weren't just drinking wine and having bubble baths. We actually worked the entire time, even during the pandemic. So please do not listen to the narrative that's out there. We're hardworking people. We're a hardworking people that love to serve. We love the programs that we signed that oath to support when we signed the Constitution. So please do not think that we're lazy. I just lost my union brother he passed away last Wednesday. We laid him to rest on Friday, and Jeff served the agency for 50 years before he died. There were days when Jeff got sick, and he was sick. He got sick at the office. His last day, he was sick because he had claims. He had claims that were backlogged, and he had stuff that he needed to clean out. And his thing was, we did not have enough people. And so many federal employees are like that. They'll go to work when they're sick or whatever is going on, because they know that we serve the public and we have a job to do, and we're America's frontline. We make America work. And so, one of the things that's going up to the Senate now is to take away our supplement annuity. And that's the biggest portion of our retirement. If that goes, many federal employees are going to walk, especially at Social Security, because we have 25% of our staff who are within that age group to retire. And if that supplement is taken away, then you're going to have a workforce that's not going to be there, and the public is also going to suffer. I have one office alone in Plantation, Florida, where one office alone lost 9 people. Now, if you imagine all of them have 25 years or more, can you imagine the amount of knowledge that just left that office? And it takes at least 5 years for you to know that job. At the telephone service center, it took me 5 years to know my job and be a journeyman. So imagine at the claims office where they're processing your claims, it takes a little longer. So even if we get someone to train, they can't just go up to the window right away. It takes time for them to even know how to fully adjudicate a claim. So these are the things that we're bringing to you, so you understand the dire straits that we're in as an agency. And again, I'm just asking you on behalf of not only SSA employees, but all our brothers and sisters in the federal workforce, please, to support and the people who serve the people. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Shaunellia. I appreciate that. And that's why we're having this program. We want people to understand what you all are going through, but also what the problems are, and how to get beyond that. I don't know how. I'll change administrations quickly and never again, but that's the kind of thing that we're going through. I don't see anybody with hands up, and I'm still going to wait until the end, if you don't mind. What you should have had some time left over, did you? Bonnie, she had 2 minutes. All right.
That's fine.
Okay, so our second panelist has come in right on time. Our homegrown Vanessa Skipper, and she's going to give you some information about school. So Vanessa, you can jump right in. Thanks for coming in. You have a rough day, long day.
Long day. We just got done with our executive board meeting. My name's Vanessa Skipper. I'm the vice president of the Brevard Federation of Teachers, Local 2098. We represent about 5,000 teachers here in Brevard. I just have, some numbers and some, just some talking points about what's going on. And then, of course, I'm willing to answer any questions you guys might have about what's happening. As far as nationwide, I think we've all kind of seen the, I'm going to try and not use curse words, the crazy show that is the Department of Education on the federal level. It is absolutely just horrific to watch the questioning going on with, our WWE wrestler, head of Department of Education, Linda McMahon, who, clearly cannot do simple math. I think it'd be a fair statement to say that she didn't even know who Ruby Bridges was. I think that's the whole point of everything, is just to cause mass chaos at the federal level. The argument is, you hear from everybody, oh, well, education is supposed to be, let the states handle education. The federal government doesn't need to be in education. Well, we've all seen how well Florida is handling education, which is, taking us back 100 years, 200 years in Florida. Just some basic rough numbers. If you're looking at the Title I funds that Brevard County gets, so those are all of our Title I schools. Both of the schools where I taught for 3 years at 3 years at Andrew Jackson Middle in Titusville. I taught for 9 years at Cocoa High. For a long time, this district only gave Title I funds to elementary schools because poverty stops at 7th grade, apparently. But we worked really hard at Cocoa to get Title I funding, which we have used there for a myriad of things, from extra teachers to instructional assistants, to working with students. But just Title I funding alone for Brevard is $16,307,000. That's just the Title I bucket. People, think, oh, it's not going to be a huge chunk of money, but that's just for Title I money. For IDEA, which is Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, Brevard receives $19,663,000 from that act. And there's more federal programs with money that comes here as well. It's safe to say that Brevard County or Brevard Public Schools is the largest employer in Brevard. I think the number, I don't hold me to this number, but I'm pretty sure with teachers, non-bargaining, with our local 1010, which is our bus drivers, our custodians, everybody, everybody's a little over 9,000. We're the largest employee of Brevard Public Schools. So it's probably safe to say 1 in 5 jobs within the school system is funded by a federal dollar. And to kind of piggyback on that, we're looking at the state of Florida. They, year after year after year, are making cuts to the funding that they're sending us. They have increased, I would say it's safe to say each year for the past 5 years, voucher funding to private and, unaccountable private schools, both private and religious schools and private charter schools, I think we're up to about, I want to say, I have a bunch of stuff in front of me, so excuse me when I look down. So predicted this year, the state of Florida is going to spend over $5 billion on scholarship students, and those are students going to private schools that are also religious schools that can deny entrance to LGBTQ students, that can deny basically if you take your student there and they had qualified for an IEP, an individual education plan, that private school can say, hey, we're not going to recognize the special needs that your student has. We see a lot of situations where schools take this money, our charter schools, both our public charters and our private charters, take the money for the student and then kick the student out of the school, and they return to the public school behind on their education, and also the charter school has already taken that money from them. And so to think that letting the federal government stay out of education is going to be helpful is just, it's just another lie that they're perpetuating from this administration. And it is going to significantly, if we lost that type of federal funding, it's going to significantly harm our students in our low socioeconomic areas, our students with the highest needs as far as their education. And to think that the state of Florida is going to somehow, magically make it all better is just a farce. The majority of people taking the vouchers now are families that never participated in the public school system to begin with. In other words, there was never an intent of that family to put their child in kindergarten in a public school. They were always going to go private. And now there's not even a cap on it. It used to be, you had to be a family of 4 making no more than, $60,000, $70,000, then you could get this money to go. Now there's not a cap. So what we're doing now is we're subsidizing rich people's education, because the majority of people taking these vouchers are students that have never stepped foot in the public school system at all. And the other thing that we're seeing happening, because, it was sold to us as, well, if you've got these students in these failing schools, they need to be able to leave this failing school and go have options, right? Parental rights, let them go take their kid where they want to take them. Well, now what's happening is these private schools, Holy Trinity, you name it in this county, weird, their tuition's going up. So they're getting more in vouchers, they're raising their tuition, right? Because it wasn't about letting it be affordable for your everyday citizen, or letting it be affordable for our students in low socioeconomic areas. It wasn't about that. It was about subsidizing the rich and their access to education, while draining the funds from our neighborhood public schools. And, at the end of the day, sometimes this work, and I'm sure you guys can all relate to this. This we're tired, y'all. We're tired because as a union, we really we're the only ones between the school district and the laws and the teachers, and we try our best to mitigate just the absolute crazy show that is public education in Florida, and I think in other states as well. I talked a lot, and I hate to sound like doom and gloom, but that is the reality of where we are. We're looking at, we're hoping that this next calculation comes in differently, but we are looking at probably a $13 million shortfall in our calculation, And that means lower raises, right? If we can't, and we're working with the FEA to make sure we're looking at the numbers right to see what's going to happen. You know, it could shift, it could get better, but it's not looking great. And then the other thing that we're kind of looking at too is obviously we had, I think we're on our third, or we've had 2 years, two cycles of the half penny, which helped infuse money into the capital budget of BPS. We're on our first cycle of the millage, which helped infuse money into the operating fund of BPS. And honestly, the millage saved this county from bleeding teachers more than it already was. Teachers and administrators, support staff, everyone. And we have in 2026, the millage is going to be on the ballot again, and the half penny is going to be on the ballot again. And it is imperative. I cannot stress this as much. It is imperative that both of those items pass. If not, we're looking at multiple school closures. We're looking at teachers leaving. There's no scenario in which if we lose millage that we don't bleed teachers. You know, that was one thing that saved teachers from walking away from Brevard. And we still have a lot to do in the way of salary. So that's something you're going to probably see the union get very active in 2026, is making sure that those two measures pass. And, you know, the focus needs to be on our students. The focus needs to be on what our students stand to lose if we don't have that money, and that's access to certified and experienced educators. That's access to facilities that are not falling apart and crumbling. That's access to new CTE programs like construction and firefighting and nursing. That millage money and that capital money, or that half-cent money, is so important, especially when we're looking at the possibility of possibly whatever's going to happen at the federal level with funding. We see what's happening with these vouchers. And so I would ask everybody on this call, if the one thing that you're able to do is to go out in 2026 and make sure that those two measures get passed for our public schools. Even if you don't have anybody, you know, if you don't have a child or a grandchild or anybody, you know, without strong public schools, that just contributes to, you know, people that are not coming into the workforce ready to work, and ready to be productive citizens. And so we've got to strengthen our public schools. We've got to lift up our students. We've got to lift up our teachers. You know, every person that works in a school, we've got to be there as a society, no matter what side of the political spectrum you sit on. We've got to be there to lift up our schools. So I thank you for being here. I'm willing to take any questions you might have. I don't know how much time I used, because, you know, you give me a microphone, I'll talk. So
you have 2 minutes, Vanessa.
Hey, there you go.
It seems like everyone had 2 minutes left over, so that's 4 minutes more of questions at the end. You know, thank you, Vanessa, for that.
Absolutely.
We have people. I'm looking at here on the Brady Bunch screen, and we have people here in the community that really work hard. They're involved in organizations that I'm aware of. I wish we had more, because we want this to get out to the public. We want everybody to know what the challenges are right now for our schools, for Social Security. I know that a lot of people right here now are on Social Security, and who wants to go out and struggle, you know, or have a hard time getting changes done or even getting their Social Security, because our people here are overwhelmed. So if everyone here would please go out in the community and share this, I'd be willing to put something else on again. But this is the purpose. We were hoping we had a lot of people so that we can do a part 2. But as it stands right now, we just have to be those of us that are on here that goes out and spreads the word. So we're going to go now to our letter carriers. They're trying to to get rid of the Postal Service. So come on, Scott Stanley from the National Association of Letter Carriers.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here in front of all of you and talk. Our issues are a national issue. We deal strictly with the federal government, not the local government, which I don't know if that's good or it's bad. But as Shaunellia said earlier, this big, beautiful bill, as they call it, which is a big pile of, I'm going to be like Vanessa and not use curse words, but it's a steaming pile of something. So they came directly after letter carriers in that bill, as long with other federal workers. And Shaunellia said it, they want to eliminate the Social Security supplement. That affects all federal workers, but it affects postal workers as well. So if you have a postal employee who's reached their retirement age, to retirement years of service and their age, they can retire at 57 and a half. And they get that Social Security supplement from their 57 till they turn 62. And that allows a lot of people to retire early. And this is a very difficult job. We work in some really extreme conditions. I mean, here in Florida and in our postal vehicles, the temperature inside a postal vehicle will reach over 125 degrees in the middle of the summer. We have no air conditioning. We do have heat, which, is kind of funny because, what do we need heat for in Florida? But then you get into Minneapolis and you're delivering mail and it's minus 70 degrees. So it's a very difficult job. It takes wear and tear on everybody's bodies, and we wear down and we get tired. And that supplement allows people to retire early. Now, if that passes, you're going to see a mass exodus of employees who are at that age, who might have been waiting another year or two to retire when they hit 60. They might retire at 58 before it takes effect. Well, you might have a lot of people who were going to retire who now can't because they needed that supplement to retire. So it's going to have a great effect on the Postal Service and every other federal union. It's not just the Postal Service because it affects all federal employees. The other thing that they had in that bill, which thankfully the NALC, the National Association of Letter Carriers, has a very strong PAC in DC. We have very good support behind the scenes with a lot of Republicans, even though they won't say it publicly, whether they're afraid to or just don't want to say it. But privately, they're on our side. And we were able to get two things eliminated from that bill, which didn't get passed in the House part of it. Was they wanted to change the retirement from your high 3 to high 5. And in doing that, they also wanted to go back and recalculate the retirees' high 5 as well. So retirees who've already been retired, they could have gone back in and recalculated their retirement and reduced their retirement because it would have been based on their high 5 and not high 3. So luckily, with our lobbyists and our phone calls, we have an action committee that allows us to send messages to members of Congress and the House through a simple click of a button on our website. To not do that. The other thing they wanted to do is they wanted to raise the FERS contribution. So if you were hired prior to 2013, you pay 0.8% of your pay to your retirement. If you were hired after 2013, you pay 3.3% of your retirement. And anybody that was hired after 2015, you pay 4.4% of your retirement. You all get the same benefit. And that's the funny part, is anybody who started after 2014 pays 4.4%, but the retirement benefit is exactly the same as someone who pays 0.8%. Well, they wanted to change that, and they wanted to make everybody pay 4.4%. Not retro. They wanted to go back and change even the people that hired from before 2013. They wanted to change their retirement to 4.4%. And who's to say that, in 2026, they won't make it 5.5%. 2027, they won't make it 7.7%. They keep wanting to change our contribution to our retirement, but they don't increase our benefit. They just increase the amount that we put into it. So luckily, through hard work from our members, we have 250,000 members across the country. And one of the things that we're very good at is when they come after us, which they've been doing for years, we mobilize our members, we get on the phone, we call our members of Congress, and we tell them, we voted for you, leave us alone. That's all we ask, leave the Postal Service alone. During the pandemic, we never missed a day of work. we're one of the few agencies that we couldn't stay home. People relied on us. They relied on us for your medication that was delivered to your door, or that case of paper towels you couldn't get that was delivered to your door, or the case of toilet paper that was delivered to your door. We didn't have the option of staying home. We never do. We work through hurricanes, we work through tornadoes, we work through blizzards, we work through everything. So when they say that we're not essential or they want to come after the Postal Service, it will affect everybody, especially people in the rural communities. You know, you have some rural communities where the only person they see on a daily basis is their mailman. And if you eliminate the Postal Service and you privatize it, what's going to happen is they're not going to go there every day. They're only going to go there when it's profitable. So up until the beginning of this year, the Postal Service did last mile for UPS and FedEx. We delivered 30% of UPS and 30% of FedEx. And then when UPS did their new contract, they took that away from us. So that wasn't great. But they would give us all of their non-profitable deliveries. Why? Because the Postal Service goes to every address every day, regardless. Whether we have one piece of mail or we have 100 pieces of mail, we go there every day. So we're in the community every day. We support our communities. We know I've been on my same route for 10 years. I've seen kids that were born that were infants that are now in, you know, second and third grade. So we watch them grow up as we go through that. So one of the other things that Shaunellia was talking about was we deal with OPM, the Office of Personnel Management. That's you when we have retirement issues and stuff like that. They are so outdated and antiquated that OPM can only take 100 phone calls at a time. So how many federal workers you think are trying to call OPM to ask a question about their retirement? So if they have 100 people in the queue waiting for a phone call, you don't even get to get through. And then once you do get through, it could be 45 minutes to an hour. And then if you get dropped and you have to call back in, it's horrible. OPM is so bad. And it's not the people that work there. They're like everybody else. They're just understaffed like everybody else. But the system is so outdated and antiquated that, and now they want to cut more people from OPM, which would make it even worse. So if you retire and you have a question about your retirement, or they process your retirement, they're like 180 days behind on processing retirements. So people who retire aren't getting their first retirement check for 3 and 4 months after they retire. It's horrible. The other thing, when you see any time in the federal government, when they turn around and say that they want to privatize the Postal Service because it will help balance the budget or reduce the burden on the taxpayers. The Postal Service since 1970 has not received 1 penny of tax money. We are a self-sufficient federal agency, survive solely on the products that we deliver. So we don't take any tax money, which is the same reason why when the government shuts down because they run out of money, the Postal Service continues to work because the employees continue to get paid because we don't receive any tax money. So when you hear the president come out and say that we want to privatize the Postal Service to reduce the burden on the American people, that's a bunch of steaming pile of you know what. We don't take any tax money from anybody. We are self-sufficient. Now, people are saying the Postal Service is losing money. Yes, we did lose money, but back in 2006 during the lame duck Congress, they made the Postal Service pre-fund future retiree health care for 75 years at the tune of $5.5 billion a year for 15 years. So every year we had to pay $5.5 billion into a fund for future retiree health benefits for people that hadn't even been born yet. We fought that. And it wasn't until 2023 when 2021 when President Biden signed into the Postal Reform Act that we actually got that taken away. So for 15 years, we had to pre-fund retiree health benefits. Then once we got that taken away, Congress like, great, now we got $55 billion sitting in the fund. What are we going to do with it? They wanted our money, and we fought that as well. Now we're using that to pay retiree health benefits. So they've come after us many times. They want to eliminate 6-day delivery and go to 5-day delivery. We fought that. So we fought a lot of attacks from different avenues in DC. But one of the things that we have is great mobilization of our members across the country to call out and call their congressman and let them know. So right now there's a House resolution. It's House Resolution 70. It's the Opposed Postal Privatization Act. It's a very important thing. It's not a law. It's just a resolution. Right now we have 215 co-sponsors. and that's only in 5 months. So we've got good support on both sides from Republicans and Democrats. But this is something that if you could call your member of Congress, I've reached out to our local member of Congress, and he has yet to return my emails and phone calls. I have probably sent a dozen emails, and I think one of these days I'm just going to walk into his office. His predecessor, although he wasn't a big supporter of ours, he would meet with me, he would talk with me, and I was able to get him to co-sponsor 2 of our bills. The current member of Congress, I can't even get I did speak to one of his aides in DC about 3 months ago. I got about 10 minutes of his time, but I've requested an in-person meeting with Congressman Haradopoulos, and I cannot even get a return email. And it's horrible. You know, I mean, I grant if you don't want to support me, that's fine, but at least have the professionalism to at least meet with me. So House Resolution 70 is very important to us. The other thing that we have up in DC right now that is a huge bill for us is the Protect Our Letter Carriers Act. It's HR 1065 and Senate 463. So what a lot of people don't realize is over the last 4 or 5 years, crime on letter carriers has risen over 30%. Between 2023 and 2025, there was over 2,000 attacks on letter carriers across the country at gunpoint. And what they're doing is they're stealing our arrow keys. Now, an arrow key is a universal key that opens every mailbox in every city. So like each zip code has their own master key. So if you're living on Beachside or you're living in an apartment complex and you have a keypad to get in, we have a key that allows us to get into that. It also allows us to open all the cluster boxes you see at apartment complexes. They're stealing these keys and they're selling them on the black market for between $5,000 and $10,000 a piece. So the Protect Our Letter Carriers Act is out there, and what it will do, it will upgrade our lock system to an electronic lock that ties into our scan. And so if it's stolen, they can deactivate the key and it won't work anymore. So that's one thing. It will also increase the number of prosecutors in each district. Right now, there's 15 prosecutors around the country that prosecute just postal crimes. This bill would put 1 prosecutor in each state. And that's a huge difference. It would also increase the penalties because right now there is no standard of punishment for crimes on letter carriers. You can have one letter carrier who robs a letter carrier at gunpoint and they get 2 years. You could have another one in a different state gets 15 years. There's no standard. So this bill is very important to us because we just want to go to work, do our job, deliver to the American people, and come home. We don't want to have to be looking over our shoulders as a car comes down the street. We've had 3 people in Brevard County that were robbed at gunpoint, 1 in Suntree and 2 in Palm Bay. And the one in Palm Bay, she resisted and they shot at her. Luckily, they missed her and they shot her with a postal vehicle. But there's been dozens of them in Orlando. This is a very big bill for us, and it's the same thing. All we ask is that you reach out to your member of Congress, your member of the House, and ask them to please just support these legislations that help postal workers. If they eliminate the Postal Service, everybody's going to suffer. Every small business is going to suffer. Everybody's going to suffer. So all we're asking is for just the support to reach out to members of Congress and tell them, just leave the Postal Service alone. I know they've kind of backed off on the rhetoric a lot because there's a lot of other drama going on now in DC. But every time there's drama, they always go back to the Postal Service because it attracts the people from what's really going on. So, but I just want to take the time and say thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak before all of you. Get our word out there. And like Vanessa said, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. So thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Scott. And I love my postal service. I love my letter carriers. And I'm sure that we all appreciate you guys. Would you mind putting in the chat those resolutions or bills that you mentioned?
I absolutely will do it right now.
Okay, appreciate that. Now, we want you all to talk about each other because it seems like some of the same stuff correlates with each of you in the government section. Vanessa down there with the schools, and she's got a big headache. So we're gonna, after our next speaker, Cynthia Boston Thompson, we're gonna open up. Questions. So I would like for you all to write down your questions now. We'll make it brief. To ask a question only takes about a minute. So we give you a minute to ask the question. We don't want to make statements other than to say thank you. But we want to get as many questions in as we can. So we're going to allow Cynthia Boston Thompson to come on in. And I see that you and Shaunellia and Scott know about some of the same issues. So we want you all to correlate. And Vanessa, don't forget about the schools. Our future lies in how our children are taught.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to give you day one of a federal employee. I, Cynthia Boston Thompson, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. That oath is not just a promise of doing a good job. It's a dedication to defend the Constitution. It's the loyalty to the law, not the individuals. It explicitly states allegiance to the Constitution. It's the true faith and allegiance of a personal commitment as a federal employee to uphold the integrity and the honesty in the service of the American people. No mental reservation. That phrase, without any mental reservation or purpose or evasion, means that federal employees must be sincere in their commitment, no crossing the fingers behind the back, no hidden agendas. Faithful discharge of duties. This is a solemn pledge to perform all our duties and be ethical. It's a declaration that federal workers are the guardians of democracy, committed to standing up for constitutional principles, even when it's hard. And y'all, it's hard right now. It's a solemn promise that binds each of us together to protect what makes America a democracy. The rule of law, accountability, and the inalienable rights of the people. When we say support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, we, federal employees, pledge to be that shield no matter the challenge. And that is what makes public service not just a job, but a sacred trust. And I did that. That's the very first time that I actually shared that with anyone, because a lot of people think that we get hired and we come on, but there's more than that. As federal employees, we swear. I work for the Department of Veteran Affairs. And right now, for all federal employees, including us, there is a war on federal employees. And that war not only affects us as employees, but it affects our veterans, our seniors, our disabled individuals, our communities, and our economies. The reality of staffing shortages in a VA medical center. Despite the rising need of care of our veterans, we've had more veterans come in, yet the number of employees has remained the same, but they've decreased. And this is a problem that we have in our federal government. There's the impact on veterans and their families, the longer wait times that we make our veterans wait, employee burnout, because we have not increased staffing. There's an overburdened healthcare. And our employees, they're leaving. They love the commitment to our veterans, but they cannot be overburdened. We're doing 4 and 5 people's jobs. It has to stop. Yet we are being demonized as federal employees. We are the caregivers. We are the people who serve the people. And it's a difficult thing when you are being demonized. Russell Vought, who is appointee, he says, if federal employees are feeling traumatized right now, probably it has something to do with everything. He goes on to say that we want bureaucrats to be traumatically affected. He says that when we wake up in the morning, he wants us to think and not want to come to work because we are increasingly viewed as the villains. We want their funding to be shut down. We want to put them in trauma. This is federal employees who have given an oath to serve the people for the people. Yet we continue to be demonized. We have a representative who says federal employees do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs that we can be fired at will. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue. Those jobs are paid for by the American tax people who work in real jobs, earn real income, pay federal taxes, and then pay these federal employees. Well, we are those people. We pay taxes. And everything that we do for the American public, we do it because of this oath that we sworn. We need you to help us to fight for the democracy. Sometimes it's a little overburdened because we are viewed as these fat cat bureaucrats making six figures, and that could not be far from the truth. We are employees who have dedicated our lives to public service. We are those people who take care of people. The Trump administration has systemically attacked the very fabric of our democracy, from undermining essential federal services to dismantling the checks and balances that protect working people. Departments that once stood as pillars of fairness and integrity now struggle under the weight of political interference and underfunding, leaving us questioning who, if anyone, is left to watch the watchers. Those of us who believe in democracy, we carry a deep sadness, a broken heart over what America has become. We make no mistake, our hearts may be bruised, but our fight, our will to bring about change is still very much alive. We refuse to accept that this is the America we must leave to our future generations. We stand together, and that's where we need everyone's help. I get it. I understand a lot of people, they don't understand how the federal system works. It's not like private sector. You come in and you get a pink slip whenever. There are a lot of checks and balances that go along with that. And it happens. But to demonize us for doing our jobs is unpatriotic, and it's just plain right un-American. So we want you to stand together and be resilient and unwavering, because we are determined to rebuild, restore, and defend the rights and the protections that define a just and equitable society. And I say that because we are AFGE, and we will not back down ever. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was powerful, Cynthia. And in just a moment, we're going to open up questions. But I was want to say, we're here in Florida, and to think about FEMA taking away or just reducing FEMA help in a place that's always bombarded with hurricanes. A lot of coastal areas are. I'm from old school, so I remember that one time when EEOC was powerful. They're messing with even children's school lunch, Medicaid, Medicare, protection on the job with OSHA. They're messing with our veterans, and we have some right here on the Brady Bunch screen. Equal rights, human rights. They need to stay out of bedrooms and out of women's decisions about what they do with their bodies. We're a diverse nation, and there should be equity for all. So upon that, we're going to open up questions. So please go to your what is it, little thing called down there, Dan?
Yeah, the little hand down there
Yeah,
for raised. We do have Phil's hand up, but before we do that, Karen, can I just interrupt? And I failed to mention earlier that we did have an elected official join us, and that's Marcus Smith. He's a councilman from Melbourne.
Oh, yes.
Wanted to acknowledge him here? Welcome,
Of course.
Mark.
I saw him down there. That's what I was saying. I know some people on the screen earlier that they have a great network of people around them. I was kind of talking about Marcus. And not just him, but there are lots of people on here.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Just protocol. As being an ex or former elected official, I know we get kind of it makes us feel a little more special that we're welcome. So anyway, with that said, yes, use the little hand down there on the digital if you can. If not, send us a text and let us know your questions, and we'll try to feed those to the group as well. Everybody's been allowed to come off of mute, so as soon as you go in sequence, you'll ask your questions. And Karen, it's your floor.
Okay, so first we have Phil Stasic, our ex-president of Space Coast Progressive Alliance, a powerful community person who's out there roaming the streets every day, knocking on doors and doing all that sort of stuff. So Phil, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Karen. Hey, first thing I want to say before I ask my question, and that is to say to Shaunellia, Vanessa, Scott, and Cynthia, you are our heroes. I'm a former union member, retired from the Airline Pilots Association for a quarter of a century, and I want to say thanks to you because I know the blood, sweat, and tears that you shed. Karen, my God, you've been on the front lines for so long. All of you are in one of the most difficult, probably the most difficult time that any of us have seen in our lifetimes regarding our democracy. There is no doubt that the president and many of his allies are really trying to shred our democracy. We know what's going on, and anybody with half a heart understands the pain that you're going through. So we're all with you. We want to say thank you. We're so glad that you're here with us, and anything that we can do to help you is important. And I guess that raises the question of, you've given us some action items here, some good action items that we can all follow, and it's important that people take action. Rather than just sitting here and entertaining ourselves. We have to do something. We can't just sit here and listen. We have to spread the word to our friends. As Karen said, get the word out there, and hopefully we'll get this will be viewed by many more people than are here tonight. For anybody else that wants to speak, by the way, let me just remind everybody, it's a little heart shape and it says react now. You hit the little react button and that opens up a thing where you can click raise your hand. So it's reactions and then raise hand, and that's you'll get a chance to be in line here to ask your question. We have an event. I guess my question to all of you is, we have an event coming up on the 14th. It's called No Kings Day here in Brevard County. It'll be we'll be having a rally at US 1 and Route 520, State Route 520, and we would like all of you to be there. We would like all of you to please invite your members to join us, to be there, to be active. This isn't as important perhaps as getting people to vote, but it is essential that we all appear on the street together, let our neighbors know how important it is for us to be there together, to let everybody else see us. I see that we're screen sharing. Daniel, you've just gone into screen sharing for us, so we kind of
apologize for that.
No problem.
In
any case, if
wasn't supposed to happen, sorry about that.
if any of the four of you would like to talk about what it is to see people when you're a federal employee and you see people on the street that are protesting on your behalf, what does it make you feel like? So those of us that are out there waving the flag and trying to get to wake up our neighbors, I know it's important, and I'll just very quickly end on this thought, and that is, used to fly airplanes for a living. Our friends at the FAA, if they weren't there, there'd be a lot of blood on the across this country. There's so many federal employees that work day and night, 365 days a year, to protect us in so many ways. Many of my neighbors work for NASA. It goes on and on and on. We've got our friends that are letter carriers defend us, that protect us, and the fact that they're being threatened at gunpoint so that people will steal their keys, steal their mail. It is just an outrage, and in any case, for all four of you, please let us know how you'd feel about No Kings Day, if you'd be available to join us on the corner to support us.
Thank you for that, Phil. We're going to allow Carol to go ahead and ask a question, and then we'll allow our guests here to talk about some of those things.
Okay, first, just a comment. I'm a retired military officer, and I've seen firsthand some of my peers and comrades having trouble accessing the VA and taking much longer to get benefits from them, and concerns about counseling becoming less available to them. Secondly, I'm just applied for Social Security in March, and I wanted to get it when I had my birthday next month. And so I applied for it early, and it says on the website that it should happen, you should get an approval within 30 days, and it's been almost 3 months. So I called up Congressman Herodopoulos, and I did get a response from him, and he said, yeah, they're behind, but I'm like, well, it's not their fault, it's kind of yours. But I just want to make that comment, and I'm hoping that I will get my Social Security in August after my birthday. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. And that's why people need to have heard this tonight, so they'll see, they'll understand why, because each and every person here has explained how horrible it is and how bombarded they are. And so, okay, so we got Bonnie, and so we'll let you go on, Bonnie, and then we'll let the ladies and gentlemen speak.
This is for Vanessa. I'm a retired teacher, a member of American Federation of Teachers, AFL-CIO. I'm very proud. My question is, and it might not be quite fair, is when I taught, whatever was happening in the White House or the wars going on, whatever, actually trickled down to the student level. And I wonder how this treatment is affecting the classroom if the teachers talk to you about that.
I think at this point, I don't want to say that it hasn't trickled down yet. I think it's on its way down, right? Because we're seeing what funding is going to be cut, what funding isn't going to be cut. I think the biggest effect that we're seeing is the rhetoric that is coming from the White House surrounding education, the rhetoric that's coming out of Tallahassee and the laws that have been passed there, basically denying, that true history be taught, denying the rights of our LGBTQ students and teachers, basically kind of teaching only, the soft parts of history, not making anybody feel badly about themselves. All of that stems from just the culture wars that we've kind of seen our politics turn into. So as far as that trickle down, obviously we're feeling that desperately, and I think we've been feeling that for a long time. As far as funding cuts from the federal level, we're not seeing that hugely yet. But that is coming. Obviously, one of the big things I think people got used to for a while was the COVID funds, which has run out, and so we've seen some of those programs go away. Like every school had free lunch for several years with those funds, so that's not a thing anymore unless you're a Title I school. I believe we're still doing free breakfast. But as far as funding cuts with just the shenanigans that are happening, we have not seen that, but I feel like that's going to start happening. We've seen huge changes, and we're feeling the funding cuts from what the state of Florida has done with regards to funneling billions of dollars into the private vouchers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, so ladies and Scott, go ahead. I mean, if you want to respond to some of that, please feel free to, and talk amongst each other, because I can see that you kind of run into each other along the way.
The only thing that I wanted to ask Phil was, is you talked about the rally on June 14th, but you didn't say what time it was going to be.
And Dan, I'm going to let you answer that question.
Thank you, Phil. And that's what that little blurb was. I was trying to get that screen up there so I could share that with you. And that was June 14th. It starts at 11 o'clock. It's at US 1 and 520. We will have all four corners that will be supported with the rally. we're expecting somewhere well in excess of 1,000 people, probably closer to 1,500. And it will be ending about 1:30, just in time for the Juneteenth celebrations in Cocoa Riverfront Park. And we are asking for it to also be a food drive with donations. So we will have drop-off donation spots on all four quarters.
And what was it called? The title of it was?
It's actually the No Kings Day, which is a national day of protest, but it's also in conjunction with the Women's March. We don't really use their title is Throw the Clowns Out.
Right.
Definitely, we are following the No Kings Day, which is, like I said, there's about 25 or so national organizations involved in it.
Gotcha. So one of the statement, I remember who said it, was to ask what it's like to do rallies and have support. We were down in Miami in the middle of May for a training seminar, and the first day on Friday afternoon, it was over around 3:30 in the afternoon. We walked down to a major intersection in the middle of Miami with about 350 letter carriers, and we were all wearing our Hell No, Fight Like Hell t-shirts, all dressed in red. And we did the same thing. We surrounded all four corners. They had police at every corner, and we sat out there for an hour to an hour and a half. And it's amazing how many people will roll down their window and be like, "What's going on? What are you doing?" And we tell them, like, "Oh, we all love the Postal Service." So yes, it does make a difference. We did a Fight Like Hell rally in downtown Melbourne back in March. We did it right there in front of the Henniger Center, in front of the Postal Service down there. And I'm pretty sure we're going to try to organize another one here soon as well. But I'll get the word out to our members about that rally on June 14th. I don't know if I'll be able to make it. I'm flying back from South Carolina that day because I have to fly up there on Sunday for a week of work. And if I make it back in time, I'll definitely come out and support that cause as well. But I'm not sure about what time I'll be out there. But I will definitely get the word out to our members. And one of the great things that we have in our branch is the support that we get from our retirees is astounding. And a lot of times the active people might not be able to come out because a lot of the events are during the day when they're working. But our retirees are fearless, and I'm sure we'll get some of them out there to support this day as well. So I'll make sure I put the word out and see if we get out people out there for you.
Well, thank you. And we do have a special guest for that presentation. He'll be wearing a special outfit that night, or that day, and that will be our very own Phil Stasek will be our Donald Trump for the day. So,
all right. Just one other question: are you going to have like a theme, like a color theme? Because a lot of times you'll have a rally where everybody will try to wear the same color or anything like that. Is there anything specific or?
No, we encourage you to wear your because we have so many different organizations involved, and Space Coast Progressive Alliance is one of about 8 groups here locally supporting it, and this board has been very supportive for our rallies. So we have your own signage. We encourage, people come from all different places. As you can see over my shoulder, we've got lots of issues. So if the education group or the AFL-CIO, and there are very many different groups in there, come out, wonderful. We'd love to see you.
Okay. All right. So are you ladies ready to chat? Or
I was just getting ready to say.
Okay, go ahead, Cynthia.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shaunellia.
Oh no, I was gonna say because I noticed the back. Cynthia and I belong to the same union. We're both American Federation of Government Employees. She's with the VM with SSA, and we do work together on the state council. She is the vice president. I'm the first vice president. So I just wanted to just correct that because I saw American Association, and we were the same union. I don't want anyone to get confused. As for the rallies, I'll just preempt her and say between January to May, we've been out there in the trenches, press conferences, rallies, everything there is. We were the hands off. We had our own rally hosted by Cynthia's Local in West Palm Beach. So I'm in Boca Raton, but I do have membership in Melbourne. my retiree, Harry Merlet, I'm sure, Miss Houston and a lot of other folks might know him. I'm going to ask him if he would be able to help out, and a few other people. But I want to point out, unfortunately, that my membership in Melbourne, I'm going to be honest with you, for some reason, they're not as active as my membership down here. Like down here, I can get people out to come out and do stuff. But up there, for some reason, no matter how we try, I don't know if it's the area that it's in, but it's hard to get them out. So if, anything, from the, Vanessa, the teachers, whatever, if there's something, the postal service, Scott, if something you can tell us, how to fix that, I'm willing to hear, because it's hard to get them out there. And we have Melbourne and Cocoa, and I have Vero and Port St. Lucie, but they just don't come out. I'm going to be honest.
That could be possibly because of all that you just told us about earlier,
Yes.
I'm trying to help them out. But if
No,
you're
they've always
overwhelmed-
been like that. That's the thing. They're not very active.
Yeah, I remember the
But
first
I'll
time.
definitely get someone out, though. I'll definitely try, and I'm going to put it out there because I do that to see if we can get some folks to go.
Hmm. Yeah, I know that Harry tries to do his best
He
about
tries, yes.
Yes. Okay, so anything else, ladies?
I just want to say to Ms. Carroll and to those who have served, thank you for your service. One of the things that we really need for our veterans to do is push for better health care. The way it's happening now, because there's not enough employees, they're pushing our veterans out into the community. And we know the community does not give good health care when it comes to our veterans, especially those who seek mental health services, those people who may have PTSD or MST. So we're asking to ask for better services and assist with our the employees. Our doctors, our nurses, they work so hard to ensure that we provide the best quality care for those who have served us, and we want to maintain that. Right now, we have we're losing a lot of them, and they're not replenishing them. It's like someone's gone, and it takes a couple of weeks or a couple of months to get someone on, and they're not staying here. So we have to call for better health care for our veterans. It has to start here, and we need your help with that.
And I just want to piggyback on what Cynthia just said, because I myself am a veteran. I'm a Navy veteran, and for the past 2 years, I'm not sure what I would have done if it was for the VA, because of the services that they provide. But because they're so short-staffed, last week I had to see a pulmonologist for some breathing issues, and the VA was not able to see me. They were so booked that they had to send me out to community care. And the service was okay, but compared to what I'm used to at the VA and them getting back to me with the results, I'm still waiting on them to send the results over to the VA so they can tell me what's going on, if it's a lung issue or whatever. But I wouldn't be able to be here today if it wasn't for the VA. And so I do hope that you support our brothers and sisters, not only with the VA, the Bureau of Prisons, they're severely understaffed. And it's to the point where, and I worked at the Bureau of Prisons also before I went to Social Security. And, people talk about police officers and how it is on the street. Well, I can tell you, even though I was not a correctional officer, I was in HR, I had to do correctional duties. And that beat behind those walls, it's the worst. You have so many suicides, so many divorces. It's a harsh place to work. And even in August, we lost an officer because when he checked the mail, the gloves that they use is not even good enough. And when he checked the mail, he died from fentanyl. Those are the conditions behind those prison walls. And I just want to highlight that. Thank you.
Wow. And we also need to talk about privatization of prisons as well,
Yes.
at some point, and that leads to a lot of that stuff. Okay, so we have Larry that has a question. Larry Abdullah. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, before I ask a question, I just want to quickly say, in these troubled times, please support PBS, because I think they're one of the best stations, and they are part of this big bill. So anyone you could call and support PBS. I got a question. I've heard that Doge is still embedded in a lot of these federal agencies.
Yes.
And are they still in key positions, sitting in the office buildings? And then I got a quick question for Dan after that.
Well, a lot of the things that Doge started off with, as far as there's a bullet point, 5 bullet points that you have to actually do every Monday to say what work you've done, how much work have you done. It's really a joke. But there are those things that they're still doing. They are not present in our VA. However, within the system of the VA, such as our email groups that we usually get random emails from Doge, or it's generated by OPM. We have the thing where it's generated by someone. Just answer it. They can't tell us who it is, who it's coming from. Who do we send it to? So yeah, we still have that going on, but they're not directly in our facilities. They are still in OPM, and they're still in the Treasury, but not here at our
I have
facilities.
to tell you something funny about that because I'm a volunteer at Patrick Air Force Base in the Red Cross office, and I get those emails every Monday, and I respond with something really snarky because I figure, what are they going to do to me? I'm a volunteer.
Mhm.
At SSA, I know that they're at headquarters. They're there in the building at headquarters, but as Cynthia said, they're not in our respective field offices here on the ground in operations.
Yeah, Doge had a agreement with DeJoy before he was forced out by the president, to allow Doge to come in and look at the inner workings of the Postal Service. And the NALC fought back and fought hard because they wanted access to letter carriers, mail handlers, clerks. They wanted to get into our private information. We fought back hard on that, refused to allow them to do that. Now, there are a few things that Doge did look into that we have been trying to get corrected with the federal government, how they calculate our retirement from CSR to FERS. There was a report called a Siegel study, which actually says that the federal government should be paying more of our retiree benefits for CSR retirees, civil service retirees, than they are. And that fund states that would save the Postal Service over the last 10 years almost $2.1 billion just in compensation. So yeah, that's something that should be looked at now. It was a report that was done. It has been presented to, it was presented to Bush, it was presented to Obama, it was presented to Trump, it was presented to Biden, and none of them want to sign off on it because it would add to their federal budget. So yeah, and stuff like that would help us out a lot. But we fought back and kept them out of the letter carrier, the clerks, the mail handlers, all the other, we kept them out of our union business, but they are looking at some of the inner workings of management in the Postal Service. A lot of the buildings we own, buildings we don't own, we rent. So they're looking at, can we eliminate those buildings and move people into buildings that we own to reduce but then again, that will reduce the service to the customers out in the field. So, but yeah, they have been brought in by DeJoy before he was forced out by the president. So,
Okay, Dan, real quick, are you going to have a jury rig like pickup truck where somebody's going to speak in Cocoa, or is it just going to be? Are you going to be able to do that?
No, there will not be any. There'll be street theater going on this time around, but we won't have scheduled speakers.
Okay.
Okay, so one thing I also wanted to mention when you mentioned veterans in Brevard, we have a pretty large population of homeless people, and that includes a lot of veterans. And so, don't know what to do about that. Don't know how to get them. A lot of them need meds. I'm sure there's a lot of PTSD. So, that we just need to bring that to people's attention and try to keep that, out in the open, because it's hard to see people out when it's raining or a storm is coming and you see them pushing a basket, or, they're in the woods somewhere, because you can see them sometimes. So I just wanted to bring that up too. So I don't see any more hands up, so I'm gonna excuse me, turn it back over to Dan. But I'm gonna do like our predecessor Phil always says, you know, if we're at a location in the public, we always give you a great hand. I appreciate you, each and every one of you, for coming on. I appreciate those that attended this for coming on, and I don't think this is going to be the last time. I think this is a very good presentation today, and people need to know. So I'm so thankful for you all coming on today. Well, as Phil always says, everybody should give a good hand clap. So, oh, okay. So I see one person come back on.
You can bring yourselves off of mute to do that, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. Everyone has the ability to take themselves off mute.
Well,
She wanted the waving hand clap.
my applaud is loud enough for everybody else.
This would be a standing ovation if we were in our regular meeting facility. This is a terrific group of speakers. We are so thankful that you're here tonight.
Yeah,
We touched on a lot of subjects.
Thank you for
If
having
you
us.
see our graphics that our wonderful Janice did for us, it's so much on that graphic. They tease me.
It's great. I love it.
In my head, but it's
I
so
think it
much on
looks
there.
like Karen. It looks like you, Karen.
Well, if only I had the figure. But here's the thing, you know, it really should be more of this, and it should be wider. And here in Brevard, we're looking at coalitions. We're trying to build more coalitions. I'm no longer in the, with the AFL-CIO, but I'm a community activist. So I try to stay, you know, busy as much as I can. Have limitations now because I'm old, but and I'm getting Social Security. So,
But
so
good
anyway.
thing, Karen, because if I can put Lou Connick on the line here real quick, he may be able to also encourage people, because we are trying to build those coalitions through communication. And through his ability, and I'm not sure if Lou is even on the line with us anymore. Lou, are you
Who's
there?
this you say?
Lou Connick, which is he's actually with the Save Our Indian River Lagoon. He was part of the group.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he's there. I see.
Great job of bringing communications together, and he has assembled a group here in Brevard of starting with a smaller group of 20, but targeted about 50 different groups that are trying to collaborate and put information together so we can have a message that is standardized and everybody, and not an attack message, a message that's based on facts, but very direct. And most recently was on the cuts to the National Weather Service and how dangerous those cuts are in our world. And you know, so I want my hats off to him and a group called Peace Brevard. So
you went down a little bit when you said that last group's name. What did you say?
Peaceful Brevard.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right.
Okay. So if you see any post out there with that, you'll know Lou is behind that, and he's got a collaborative effort in doing that. Karen, do you have, we would encourage you for a follow-up program possibly in the future. This is not going away anytime soon, so we would hope to maybe have a part 2 or part B to continue on. And
I'm seriously thinking about it.
I think that would be great. So many times we find that we become reactive instead of proactive. And I think right now is the time that we're proactive. We get this word out, we forge together and make something happen.
Yes, I agree. And so, yeah, there'll possibly be one. You know, it's not easy to put this all together. But that's okay. You know, we have to keep going no matter what. So yes, there'll possibly be another one soon.
And I just have one quick ask on behalf of Cynthia Scott and myself. I did drop a link in the chat for to urge the Senate to protect federal employees' pay, benefit, and rights. It's just writing letters to the senator. So, I mean, if you click on the link, you can just quickly write a letter and send it up for us, please. We would greatly appreciate it. So far, we have 1084 letters that are already sent. I'm trying to get it out to my folks down here too. So we would really appreciate it if you could help us with that also by just sending a quick letter to the senators. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I don't see yours yet. I'm looking. I'll make sure
Yeah,
you.
I sent it at
It's in there.
7:42. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's-
there. Okay, I got
Action
you.
Network. Yeah.
Right, and as we had mentioned, we are recording this, so though that information will be also available
Thank you.
even after we hang up, because as you know, many times folks are not always available on Thursday at this time. So this presentation will be viewed by hundreds, if not well over 1,000 different people. With that said, I do want to mention that we do have a programming possibility that Bonnie's been working on. Bonnie, are you able to give us an update on that initiative?
Yes, we've had a tradition in the summer when people are coming and going so much to show a movie. And we haven't chosen the movie yet. We have to decide, but we're leaning toward a movie about the situation in Palestine. It sounds like a long jump from what you're talking about, but it kind of underlies everything we do, having to see a genocide live streamed every day. So it may be a movie like No Other Land, or it may be one of the good movies they have, like encampments about the student protest movement. And there's been situations right here in Florida where students have been arrested who are standing up while we sit here. They're out there putting their lives and their futures on the line. So if you want to throw anything in that chat of what you would prefer, I will watch and see what you say, and it'll help us make a decision. We're going to decide probably on Monday which film. Okay, that will be August, probably the first Thursday of August.
Excellent. So stay tuned. We'll get the communications out on that. And as Bonnie had mentioned, we have a board meeting this coming Monday to talk about and review the presentations for this rest of the summer and fall. All right, with that said, I'm going to again thank everyone for being here. Thank you to the presenters tonight. And if we could one more time give them a hand of applause here. So we definitely thank you for taking the time. You don't have to do it. We know you're all busy, and you probably haven't even had dinner yet. So hopefully we don't keep you too much longer here. So anything else? Otherwise, we're going to stop recording.